What's up? Coming to you live from my house. It's our Game of the Year awards, many categories. This is about the games that we've played this year. However, so some games might not be there. But before we start this, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Come on, dude! I said I'd be ready in 5 minutes!
Anyway, campaign story of the year goes to...
The Last of Us wins our campaign/story of the year. Why? Because The Last of Us was incredible on so many levels. The characters kept you engaged. The story was extremely engaging. It was marvelous. It was so well written. There were so many moments on here that were just pure emotion. They really kept you gripped from start to finish. You always wanted to see what was going to happen next with this story. It was never a dull moment with this story. And with the campaign, there was lots of action. It was big. It was bombastic. The worlds were incredible. That you just felt immersed in the entire thing, and it was just an overall extremely fun game. That's why The Last of Us wins our campaign story of the year for 2013.
Yeah, our runner-up goes to BioShock Infinite. BioShock was a really great story. They threw so much story at you all the time in that game, and it just plays off really well. You really care for the main characters, and even, some of the random people. It had some of the biggest action moments I've seen, a lot of times, especially with, the bird and whatnot. But, the world is beautiful, and the game is awesome. So that's why, it gets runner-up. And now on to the next award, which is Multiplayer of the Year, goes to
Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, while this game arguably could have had the worst online launch to ever happen in gaming history, when it worked, it is an incredible experience. Being able to just join about 16 other players in all of Los Santos and do whatever the hell you want. Rob banks. You can do Grand Theft Auto races, which are incredibly fun. You can do death matches. You can do actual missions, which mostly just involve you stealing coke. But overall, it is incredibly fun. Just being able to explore the whole world and never know what's going to happen, whether someone's going to kill you and steal all your money. Money's hard to come by. Being able to buy a house and a car, all that cool stuff. It's incredibly rewarding. It's addictive. And it's something like I've never played before. That's why Grand Theft Auto Online wins our multiplayer game of the year.
Now, the runner-up for Multiplayer of the Year goes to Splinter Cell Blacklist. The main reason for this is when you play it, you get 2 different forms of gameplay. If you're playing as the Mercs, it's a first-person shooter. If you're playing as the Spies, it's an action-adventure game. It's 2 completely different ways of playing, and it makes it really fun. Probably playing Team Deathmatch is pretty fun. You mix up the characters, but then there's also Blacklist mode, which is the Spies are trying to hack 3 terminals, and the Mercs are trying to stop them. And you get loadouts, and it's just a really, really fun experience. If you like first-person shooters, or you like Assassin's Creed, this is the game for you. But now we're going on to co-op. So co-op game of the year is
Diablo 3 wins our co-op game of the year. Now, you can argue that Diablo 3 shouldn't win because it came out last year or in 2011 on the PC, but we were able to play it on the consoles, and the way they transitioned to the consoles is beautiful. This is the best couch co-op I have played since I was probably this big. It was just great to get 4 dudes together and just go dungeon crawling, hunting for new loot, and just have an incredibly fun time. You're always doing something in this game. You're always leveling up. It's addicting to get new skills. And to do that as a group is just one of the best things that I've experienced all year. Diablo 3, co-op game of the year.
Yeah, it's a great couch co-op, and it also reminds me of those old school arcade games.
Yeah.
But runner-up of the year, just like last time, goes to Splinter Cell Blacklist. Wow. Again, with playing with your friends online is really fun, but then the co-op missions are made specifically for 2 people. There are certain things that you can't do and super special moves you can do, like a dual execute, where you take out 8 enemies between the 2 of you instantly, and then it's just fun. It's basically everything you want in a single-player game, but with a buddy. So it's an extremely fun experience. But now is graphics. And best graphics of the year goes to...
Yo, man. We're talking about graphics here. Winner is Grand Theft Auto 5.
No shit! Wow.
Many people consider this to be Game of the Year. My fat is showing. It's graphically the Game of the Year because of it's a lot of stuff. It's a big I guess island you could say, because I guess that's what it is in the game. It's an island full of these awesome things. There are animals. The cars look real. When you hit stuff with your car, it actually damages it, and you can lose your car that way. And there are so many little things like that. The little stuff that goes into it, and on a big scale, the mountains look real from far away. The water looks real. So many things like that went into this game to make it look like real life, like Grand Theft Auto attempts to be.
And flying over the water, the way the sun reflects on it, incredible.
Yeah.
The clouds are never the same. The Last of Us wins our runner-up. The Last of Us, there's a couple of moments in this game that just blow my mind. One is when, you're in the woods and you're hunting for Bill. Those graphics are phenomenal. The way the sunset is happening, the forest around you, and when you see the drafts later in the game, incredibly powerful moments, and the graphics really help push that along. The characters are well designed. The facial animations are beyond anything that's been done. And the enemies are well designed. The clickers look badass. The runners do, and the bloaters. Just an overall amazing experience that really pushes the capabilities of the PlayStation 3.
Facial animations, huh?
And the soundtrack of the year goes to
The Last of Us. Why? Because the soundtrack makes you feel. It's a pivotal part of the game. Whereas you are in these tense moments, the sound is just absolutely tense. Sometimes there's that shrill sort of, that sound you hear in horror movies when you know something's about to go down, something is near you, that truly affects you while you're playing the game. Your heartbeat goes up, or you're just walking around this boring town looking for something, and it's traveling music, you could say. The soundtrack definitely reflects on the moments in the games, and it's all original from what I know, and, it's good. Runner-up?
Runner-up is Tomb Raider. The plot of Tomb Raider takes place in a jungle on an island off the coast of Asia, and the soundtrack really fits that. There's this very, Asian influence, and there's like tribal drums going on the whole time, and it's an action-adventure game, so it has that action-adventure game soundtrack, where when big things happen, the music gets big and epic, and then, there's all these also tense moments, just like in The Last of Us, but like the soundtrack is just awesome, and it really fits it. And it's one of those soundtracks that you might not even really notice, but it just fits it and sets the mood so perfectly. So, that's why, that's the runner-up. But now for DLC of the year, which goes...
DLC goes to Tiny Tina's Assault on the Dragon's Keep for Borderlands 2. This is the final DLC, and to me, it deals with the most interesting character in Borderlands, and that is Tiny Tina. She's funny. You never know what she's going to do. She does the most stupid shit. And to me, if you played the original Borderlands 2, this DLC also did some nice nods. It brought back Bloodwing, brought back Roland, and it had a incredibly funny ending that kind of pissed me off, but it was so funny I forgave it. This is the longest DLC out of all of them, and I feel the first three were kind of somewhat lackluster and disappointing, but this one just hit it all nail on the head. The areas were all brand new. You felt like you were dungeon crawling. You felt like you were questing in these fantasy-like areas. Hatred Shadow, the Lair of Infinite Agony, and the enemies were all new. Orcs. There were spiders. Spiders have been used, but so many very cool enemies in this. It was gorgeous to look at, and it was an incredible experience. That's why DLC goes to Tiny Tina's Assault on the Dragon's Keep for Borderlands 2. What's the runner-up, Keith?
Runner-up is the Tyranny of King Washington saga from Assassin's Creed 3. You know, this is actually 3 DLCs in total, but it's actually kind of cool. They take history and turn it on its head. What if George Washington made himself king? And what if Connor never became an assassin? These are things that they talk about in this, and they really changed the gameplay up. They add these cool powers, like you can go invisible, you can fly, and then you can go all like Hulk badass and just fuck shit up. It's really cool. The game, and they take areas that you know and they turn them on their head. You know, you're in the frontier, you're in Boston, you're in New York, but it's different. You know, they put a fucking pyramid in the middle of New York. It's kind of cool. So, before I get lightheaded from all the blood rushing to my head, we're going to go to Studio of the Year, and the winner is...
Naughty Dog, Studio of the Year. Why? Because The Last of Us. It was just such a good game, and I think definitely one of the best games this year, if not the best. And you could tell how much they truly put into this game. The mechanics of this game work so well. Everything they did with this game, controlling your character, the soundtrack, everything that absolutely went into this game, graphically, everything is just, you know, they deserve an award for it, I think. And just everything about The Last of Us, yeah, you owe it to Naughty Dog. They made this game, so...
Runner-up goes to Irrational Games for bringing us BioShock Infinite this year. You know, it's a homecoming from the people who made the original BioShock after the kind of half questionable failure of BioShock 2. And the game is great. I mean, from what I heard, they made enough content to make 5 games out of when they originally started planning this game. If that's not commitment, I don't know what is. And just everything, the design of the levels, the graphics was awesome, the music's awesome, the combat, everything is awesome, and all the storyboards is amazing. So that's why that won, that's why it's runner-up for our Studio of the Year. But now we're going on to Surprise Game of the Year, and the winner is...
Tomb Raider wins our Surprise of the Year. Why? Because it actually was incredibly surprising. I didn't think much of this game. I saw a couple of reviews for it. I was kind of like, meh. I heard Keith talk a lot about it. I was kind of like, eh. Keith let me borrow it, and I was hooked. I couldn't get over how just almost terrible of a place the island was. I couldn't get over Lara Croft's journey. I always wanted to see what was going to happen. It was addicting with leveling up, getting new equipment for your weapons, finding different relics and documents and all that kind of stuff. It overall was an extremely solid game. It ended up being one of the better experiences of the year. Something that shocked me. I really didn't think much was going to be of this game. And now I can't wait to see what's next. And I really want to play the definitive edition coming to the PS4 and Xbox One. That's why it's our surprise game of the year.
Yo! Second runner-up for this is Pokemon X and Y because it's just different. It's way different than what Pokemon has ever been. Whereas the game, the content may not be, and it definitely doesn't match the older games. The graphics alone, how it's played, how you can move diagonally, you have roller skates now, the free movement in the game, it takes Pokemon to another level, you know? And it's what Pokemon's going to become, and it's so new, and all that stuff. So, speaking of Pokemon, next up we have handheld games.
No Handheld game of the year goes to Pokemon X and Y. Why? Because we haven't played The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. However, this game was actually really, really good. I was surprised by this game. The 3D graphics are amazing. It's the best graphics that Pokemon has ever had, obviously. I mean, it's pretty... Once you look at it, you're just like, wow! But the gameplay, while it's still how Pokemon was, some of the changes were nice. The gameplay's so much faster than any other Pokemon out there. By the time I finished it, I had like level 70 Pokemon. That's unheard of. And I felt some of the cities were really cool, and it just felt like a little bit more of an epic journey than past Pokemon games. I feel for a start on a Nintendo 3DS, this is a great place to start. It's a great kickoff. Pokemon X and Y wins our handheld game of the year because it's great.
Animal Crossing New Leaf. I don't know what to do with my hands, so I do that. But Animal Crossing was a good game. It's the only other handheld game that I played this year, so by default, it's runner-up. That doesn't say it's a bad game. It's a good game, though. It's a good, casual, genuinely fun game that may not have objectives, you know, that you so much want to achieve, like, you know, the biggest campaign of the year or anything like that. But it's a fun, casual game that you can play any time of the day and just have fun with it. You know, pick up where you left off, just keep fucking going with it.
Sports game of the year goes to
NBA 2K14 wins game of the year.
Why did that win?
It's Madden sucks.
Wow, dude. NBA 2K14 just rules. I love playing this guy, and while it has its faults, it is incredibly fun. And when it comes to basketball simulation games, you can't top the NBA games, or the NBA 2K games, I guess I should say. It's a great game.
The more you play it, the more it grows on you. The better you get, the better you have, you know, fun with the game. At first, you'll suck because it does take some getting used to, but after you get used to it, it's pretty cool.
What's wrong with you? Skip is.
What?
I don't know. Shooter of the year
Kobe
goes
Bryant.
to BioShock Infinite wins the shooter of the year. Why, Keith?
It's just really the only good shooter that came out this year, honestly. And it's not just a stereotypical shooter. It adds all kinds of cool shit to it, like the powers.
That is true. We didn't want to give this to Call of Duty or Battlefield, but actually BioShock's shooting gameplay is fantastic. And the powers that you get from Elizabeth just add to it. All the vigors that you can get are just phenomenal. They're in the way you can combine them. The weapons are great, and it just has this feeling to it that's just great when you shoot shit. BioShock Infinite is a great shooter, but RPG goes to
Diablo 3 wins RPG of the year, mostly because it's a little different than a lot of the RPGs that have come out. It's a 4-person couch co-op, and you kind of don't have to worry about your skills and your levels and whatnot. Everything goes up for you. You just pick some of your abilities. It's really fun, and it's, you know, it fits in the Diablo universe really well, playing Diablo 2, and it's just a really, really, really fun time, and for you to play with, 3 of your closest buddies. So that's why Diablo 3 wins.
Pokemon X and Y takes the second trophy, the silver, because it's still a good game. Despite its faults, it's still a playable, fun game. And playable enough that it's the first time that I bought 3 copies of one game. I bought 2 copies of X, 1 of Y, because each individual version I play through, I like to keep my stuff on each version. So far I've had enough fun that I wanted to keep my stuff. And I buy another version to play it, and it still has stuff that's playable, and it's still fun. And it's the best thing about this video game that makes it good is it's hard to go back to old Pokemon games after playing these, because everything is so different. It's not as, you know, it feels good. You know it's good when you don't want to go back to the old ones. And,
Action Adventure.
Action Adventure, I forgot. Action Adventure Award goes to
Tomb Raider. Mostly because, in terms of an action-adventure game, this is the game to go to that came out this year. It has the really big, epic moments, and, you know, as with most action-adventure games, it's all about exploring the area. You know, there's free running and all kinds of other stuff, and it gets epic, especially toward about the middle point of the game. This game gets extremely action-packed, and some of the parts are just really, really cool. It's just a great buy if you want to have an adrenaline rush the entire time.
The Last of Us is a good game, and it wins runner-up. I didn't sound too sure of myself saying that. Believe me, I'm sure of myself. It's just the cat. Alright, runner-up deserves The Last of Us deserves runner-up because it's such a good game. The adventure part of this game is like no other. And I'm saying that where there have been zombie-infected games that have been coming out in the past years, game after game after game, this game is like no other. And for it to do that, it really shows how good this game is. For all these games, the generic ideas, the action and the adventure in this game is just like no other. I've played it through it so many times, and I still love it.
So next is Disappointment of the Year. So, and the winner is...
Dixie! You stole my thunder.
Sorry.
Gears of War Judgment is our most disappointing game of 2013. Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 were phenomenal in so many ways. But this game just took away from everything that made Gears of War great. Yes, it still had that action. It still had the insane, battles, chainsawing Locust and doing all kinds of crazy shit, blowing stuff up. But the way how the campaign was just chopped up into pieces kind of killed all the flow that was going on. While the story was okay, it wasn't as great. There wasn't a sense of urgency and of, fear and all that stuff that was going on in Gears 1, 2, and 3. The multiplayer as well was just lackluster. There was 3 modes and 3 maps. And it was funny because they actually put out a free map shortly after launch because so many people were pissed. The multiplayer for Gears has always been great. While this multiplayer was still fun, there wasn't that much improvement going on. The maps were overly big, and they were just kind of They took away Horde mode and replaced it with like a survival mode. That was kind of boring. The only good thing about this game, in my mind, Overrun. Overrun was great. Having... Beast in Horde mode kind of put together. That was fun, but on that, it really didn't live up to expectations.
Madden 25 is the runner-up. It's an all-offense, no-defense game. Playing by yourself is absolutely no fun. You have to have someone playing with you. For it to be any fun, even then, it's still frustrating when you suck on defense, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault, because the defense is just bad. It's atrocious. You get no penetration on the defensive line, and the balls just will slip out of your hands so many times if you're a defensive back. And it's just all offense, no defense. Offense is too easy, defense is not there.
The graphics suck. Character of the Year goes to Joel from The Last of Us wins our Character of the Year. I got it right this time. Oh, man. This guy, the way he evolves throughout this story is something that I feel is unmatched in gaming.
Pokemon. He evolved throughout the game.
No, just how he goes from being this guy that doesn't want anything to do with Ellie to, eventually wanting Ellie to be with him.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. And his relationship with other characters, the facial animations that they did for him are spot on. Troy Baker's voice acting is perfect. Joel's personality is fantastic, and while you can say he is a serial killer and mass murderer, he's just a great, what's the term? Anti-hero? That's why he wins our Character of the Year. Who's the runner-up?
A quick shout out to Ellie though, because I believe they worked hand in hand with a lot of it.
And Ellie is fantastic.
Yeah. Runner up is Lara Croft.
Quick shout out to her boobs.
Yeah. Just because she's a badass woman that kills and will kick ass, and that's cool. I mean it's just she's a cool character that goes through the entire game, and it's just a badass woman, I feel, which that's not in games a lot, I mean, I mean to be all pro-woman here, but I mean with games like, Call of Duty or Halo or something like that, you always play as the dude that's going through and kicks ass, but it's nice to see Woman of the Year goes to Lara Croft too. Just a sub-award there, but it's always nice to see how much someone can kick some ass.
Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. Rocky Roll McDonald's Game of the Year goes to Social Security! Social Security! Money, 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 money!
Let's do the runner-up first. Make you wait a little longer.
Alright, so runner-up for Game of the Year is Tomb Raider. You know, everything that we've talked about so far in this little award video is reasons why Tomb Raider is winning. The graphics are pretty good. Lara Croft is an amazing lead character. Her evolution throughout the entire game, from timid young woman to badass survivalist, is awesome. You know, it's an action-adventure game, so it piques the interest all the time. It's got fun combat. It's a very nice world, a beautiful soundtrack. And the multiplayer is okay, too, when you throw that in. It's nothing revolutionary, but it was okay. I played it a couple times. It's just this game, and there was so much almost, like, replayability, getting extra stuff. It kept you drawn in. This was a game that I finished very quickly. I think I finished it in 3 sittings. So that's why, you know, this is runner-up. But, and I'll do this for you, Game of the Year goes to...
Your mom.
Last of Us. Characters, check. Character personality, intrigue, badassness, design, who they are. An old guy and a little girl. It just makes it cool. Well, not little, but you know. Graphics, check. Story, check. It keeps you playing. It makes you, you know, it doesn't get old after, you know, 3 or 4 plays through the game. Still hasn't gotten old to me. The weapons, mechanics of the game, shooting, check. You want to play through a few times the New Game Plus to build your weapons, to build Joel up and give him all the statistics, to make him such a cool dude, and he can heal himself faster. He can build stuff faster. He's better. He's bigger. He's stronger. There's so much in this game that's not open world. There's still a lot of stuff to do, and it's fun. Going through, once you could kill everyone, once you could sneak through everyone, there's just stuff, man. You know? A lot of stuff. And it doesn't get old to me. It doesn't get old. That's the
moral of the story.
No, it's the thing about it, I guess. Doesn't get old.
Yeah. So thanks for checking out this awards video. You know, tell us if you agree with our stuff that we threw in and all kinds of other stuff. And, you know, give us your list. Tell us who you think wins each Game of the Year. And, yeah, bye.
Joel from The Last of Us wins her Game of the Year. Or, not Game of the Year. Character of the Year. Duh. Joel wins the Game of the Year? Your mom wins the Game of the Year.
Damn right she does.
Man. Joel, Game of the Year. Character of the Year. Can we start this?